Hi. So, let's talk. I don't have anything in particular to talk about, no certain subject, just wanting to talk a little bit. Nothing much, just talk. Right now I'm into watching Charlie Chaplin, and the name of the movie is Chaplin. It's the story of Charlie Chaplin, and Robert Downey Jr. plays as him, and I tell you what, they've done a very good job in choosing him, because with the makeup, he looks just like Charlie. Now, I love the Charlie Chaplin films, especially when he was the Tramp. I love the Tramp movies. Um, but according to the movie, it has to do with he's actually being interviewed by a writer who's making his book to later become a story. And he went through a lot just to even be a part of the movie industry. As the Tramp, he done awesome, but when talkies came in, his world started to falter. And so he had to try to do other roles besides just the Tramp, and so it just kind of fell apart for him, even though he was still greatly loved. But everybody recognized Charlie as the Tramp, and I admire him. I do. He loved the women. Apparently, he was a womanizer, but he was also in his own world as far as it went because he was so into making movies. Now, his mother had to be institutionalized because she ended up mental, and so that was something hard to deal with too. But the cool thing is in the movie Chaplin, it just so happened, I'm pretty sure it's his niece, his brother's daughter. She played as his mother. So that was pretty cool having somebody in the family play a part, somebody who knew a little bit about what had gone on in his life and in her grandmother's life. Pretty sure it's his niece. I do know that it's somebody who's related to him, but I think it's his niece. Her name is Geraldine Chaplin or something like that. Anyway, I love the movie. Um, I'm also wanting to talk about how I've been feeling lately about myself. Um, it, in a lot of ways, like needing to lose the weight, that does something mentally to somebody. And going through the frustrations of feeling out of control, even when you think you're in control, and then you see that you're still faltering, you're still failing, and it gives you a bad sense. Like, how do I get a grip? But aside from that, I'm also feeling like it's time for a change somehow, somewhere, some way. I'm looking for a change. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm wanting it. Now, as far as it goes, for my walk with Christ, God's blessing me and my husband, and I am so happy of that. And I'm anxious to see what more He's doing in our life. I'm anxious to see what's just around the bend because He's always got something going on in our life, something new, something fresh. But for me personally, I'm feeling like I guess you would call it something similar to a middle age crisis. And yes, I'm only 46, but there comes a point in time when somebody reaches where they're just not satisfied. They know they're getting older and they see that there's got to be something that can be done, something that can make them feel better for themselves, or at least go along with their age. And I think I'm reaching that where I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be something new, something better for me. And so I don't know exactly what I'm reaching for. Could mostly be losing the weight. And I'm trying not to let that get to me mentally because it's not worth that. It's not worth losing your mentality over. Uh, Losing weight shouldn't be um, mental stress. It shouldn't be. Uh, I mean, there's no stress in overeating and gaining weight until you realize that you have gained weight. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm after. Midlife crisis, is it? Or is it just I'm a little unsettled for the time? I don't know. But I'm sure I'll figure it out. Who knows? Um, Today I've done like so-so. I've not really done anything active, but eating wise, like, okay. So like, I had a large green bowl of cereal, Cheerios, and then like I ate the other half of my can of clam chowder. So that's pretty well all that I've had today. Uh, Later, I plan on having like chicken and broccoli with salsa con queso over it. I like salsa con queso pretty good. Um, and there's a restaurant that we go to called Valley's, and they have got the chicken and the broccoli. And the broccoli isn't cooked, it's actually steamed. And of course, rice. And then they've got lettuce and tomato on the side. And they've got a little bowl of salsa con queso. And I like to dip my broccoli into it. They only give you like 5 heads, 5 flowerets. And they pounded the chicken out. It's chicken breast. And they pound it out flat so that it cooks up tender and full of flavor. And it's easy to cut. So after I eat my broccoli, then I pour the rest of the cheese over top of the chicken. And I love it like that. So seeing that I can't go to Valley's all the time, I decided to invest in a jar of the con queso and make my own chicken and broccoli with con queso. So I look forward to having that for dinner. It'll be pretty good. Oh, well, I want to explain to you about the shakes in my head, how that I jerk around and things. Uh, I ended up with what they call benign tremors, and it affects the left side of my body, at least my left hand and my head. There's a certain position I hold my head and I don't jerk so bad, but in another position I jerk pretty crazy. Like in this position right here, as you can see, I'm jerking, but I'm holding the phone with my right hand, and so that's a good thing. But yeah, it affects my left side and my head. I thought I had Parkinson's, and I went to a neurologist, and they said it was benign tremors, and it just so happens that benign tremors is hereditary. So my grandpa shook, my grandmother shakes, her thumb has a tendency to tremor, and my mother ends up getting pretty shaky. And there's been times that my mother started shaking so bad. There was one time she was trying to fill out a check for Dad so that he could go get some lumber, and she was shaking so bad she couldn't even fill out the check or write the numbers in her checkbook. So she asked me to do that for her. I have seen her shake really bad. And then other times she's pretty decent, slight tremors, but she's able to control it and no calamities. But yeah, it gets bad. Even for me, there's sometimes that I'm shaking so bad in my left hand, I can't do anything that I normally do with my left. Anything. Like yesterday, I was trying to put on some makeup for church, and the nozzle on my foundation was clogged. So I'm holding the bottle with my left, and I'm using my right to unclog it with a pin, and my left was shaking so bad I could barely get to the hole with my right. I was shaking horrible in my left. Yeah, so some days it's really bad. And the worst thing of all is when I'm trying to talk to somebody and they might ask me a question that says yes or no, and my head is jerking and they think I'm saying no. And I have to outwardly tell them, no, I'm not saying no. And then I have to explain to them about my tremors. So that's a small problem, but I tried to overlook it and just take it as it is because there's no control over it. I was taking a neurologically stable beta blocker to help with the tremors, and it worked to a point, but it caused me to overeat so bad it was like I could never get satisfied. I'd no sooner eat one thing and I needed to eat again. I was never satisfied. Just eat, 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 eat. And any weight that I had lost before ever taking it, I started gaining it back. And after taking it for about half a year, around a year, and I realized, wait a minute, this is causing me trouble with eating and losing weight. And so I stopped, because the way I saw it, I'd rather shake than eat so much that I'll blow up like a balloon. I mean, I struggle enough with losing weight and gaining weight and overeating and trying to not overeat and all that. I struggle enough. I don't need help in going in the wrong direction. I'd rather shake. And that's the way that is. So I'm no longer taking it. I've not took it since last year, of 2007, the year 2007. I haven't took it since, I would say, possibly April of 2017. So yeah, it's not worth the extra battle, the effort. It's just, forget it. I'll suffer with the tremors, even if they are a little aggravating and embarrassing. But yeah, I'll deal with the tremors. I'd say a lot of people would agree with that they'd rather forget becoming unhealthy from eating too much or whatever it may cause. I'm sure that there might have been other side effects, but for me, it was the overeating, and I don't need to take something that's going to cause me to do something that I can do on my own. Forget it. Ain't worth it. Today's weather is kind of like, it's not completely cloudy, and it's not really sunny. I guess you could say it's a little overcast, but the temperatures are decent. I would love for any of yous to share with me how your temperature is today. If you've got sun, snow, heat, cold, rain, whatever. I don't care. I'd love for yous to share with me what you've got, what you're experiencing in your weather. Well, not too awful much more to say. I just wanted to talk and say I love yous and appreciate yous. For those of you who are praying for me and with me, thank you. And for those of you who are just supporting me by being a subscriber of mine and watching my videos, thank you. I love yous all, and see you next time. Bye.